delighted to be a part of, established the African Joint Continental Strategy for COVID-19, which continues to guide our success and response to the pandemic to date. Kenya is also proud to join the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member for the period 2021 to 22, following immediately after South Africa. I want to thank once again, through you, Mr. President, your government and country's support to Kenya's candidacy, and to assure you that we will continue where you left off to articulate various concerns affecting our continent. President Ramaphosa, as is befitting a true friend and partner, has gone through and covered in a lot of detail the fruitful discussions that we have had together with our officials this morning on a wide range of political, social, and economic issues of mutual interest. Indeed, we have witnessed today the signing of 8 agreements covering a wide range of issues, including health cooperation, diplomatic consultations, training and cooperation in fields of tourism and air services, all very key to both our countries. The rest, I think, the President has detailed, and I do not need to repeat. So I want to conclude and to say that I hope you will all agree with me that it is only by working together that we can achieve the desired outcomes for closer bilateral cooperation and strategic partnerships. We have today definitely made very good strides. However, we believe there is still scope to do even more. So once again, let me reaffirm Kenya's commitment to work together with our brothers and sisters in South Africa in driving the aspirations of our people through the promotion of the African agenda. I once again thank you, Mr. President, for your invitation, and also repeat my invitation to you for a reciprocal visit at a time of your convenience to Kenya, where we can continue to further enhance the dialogue that we have and the strong and solid partnership that we continue to build. I thank you all very much.
I accept your invitation with immediate effect.
Thank you, Excellencies, for your addresses. I now have 4 members of the Fourth Estate who have questions to address to you. And Sophie, if it's okay, I'd like to start with Sophie Mokoena of the SABC. Good afternoon.
My question is directed to both President Kenyatta and President Ramaphosa. You spoke about the issue of peace and security on the continent and looked at Sudan and Ethiopia. In recent times, we saw the attacks by insurgents, and a few days ago, President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, said those perpetrators who attacked Uganda a few days ago fled to 4 countries, that is Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, and Mozambique. What is your reaction to that statement? And now today we get information that the U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia has warned that there's an imminent attack by terrorists.
Imminent attack?
Yes.
By terrorists?
Yes.
To which country?
The U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia.
Oh, that there's going to be an attack there.
It's a warning and a threat that they picked up that something is likely to happen in Ethiopia?
Okay. I think the first point in response to your question is that terrorism is not a fight that can be fought by any one country. And in fact, you heard from President Ramaphosa's talk about the meetings that we've had, how we have exchanged on how South Africa is cooperating with other SADC countries in Mozambique to defeat these terrorists. And we must always recognize that despite them having different names, they are all collectively working together. And therefore, we as governments need to work together. There is no Mozambican terrorist or Kenyan terrorist or Ugandan terrorist or Congolese terrorists. These are all, unfortunately, young, misled people who follow a wrong ideology. And therefore, we need to work together to be able to defeat them before they hurt us. And it is true. We will find that some of the people who are in Mozambique are from maybe Kenya, they are from Tanzania, vice versa. So these kind of elements can only be defeated if governments work together. And I think that is what we were re-emphasizing in our discussions, that there is need for all of us to come together in order to be able to defeat this enemy of the people, if we may put it that way. So today it will be Uganda, tomorrow it will be elsewhere. So let us just say that what is required is deeper cooperation between us in order for us to be able to tackle this problem. I'm not 100% sure on the Ethiopian situation, so let me not comment on that.
It's just really to reiterate what President Kenyatta is saying, that the threat by insurgents should never be seen as localized or just focusing on one country. They cooperate. All these groupings that come through or in different names, they coordinate their activities, they are in constant communication. And we therefore need to respond in a coordinated manner as the continent, as various regions on our continent, in as far as sharing information, sharing intelligence, and working together to withstand and resist and also go after them. We certainly have found that working together in our region, here in SADC, dealing with the Mozambican situation, is bearing a great deal of fruit and success in that theater in Mozambique. But that theater can spread very quickly and easily, as now Uganda is bearing the brunt of all this. And we've cooperated at close range with President Museveni, who has also shared information on an ongoing basis with us. And we as South Africa, and indeed as SADC, stand ready to give assistance as we also get assistance from friendly countries, sister countries like Kenya, Uganda, and many others. I too cannot say much about this imminent threat on Ethiopia, and we just hope that that will not eventuate. As regards the people who have fled to various countries, of course insurgents will always want to flee to various countries as they run away from the heat that is being put on them in one country or another. So it is possible they will find their way to us here, but they will find us ready for them as well. Thank you.
Aviwe Mtila, ENCI.
Thank you very much. President Kenyatta, You mentioned a bit earlier that the trade between the two countries is enormously skewed in favor of South Africa, and you mentioned that it needs to be tackled urgently. Do you have any plans on how to go about this, given that South Africa as well would want to ramp up trade, given that it comes at the backdrop of COVID-19?
Again, I think President Ramaphosa has, in his address to the press, really quite covered that comprehensively, because we really stated, as I said also when we were inside the building, that we need to be able to remove all different barriers that exist, that deny our people from increasing either volume of trade or being able to actually engage in trade itself. And I think what is important from today is the commitment, especially at the political level, the highest political level, that we are both committed towards seeing all these NTBs removed, being able to facilitate our people to be able to do more business, to be able to encourage them to do more business. We have, as part of the discussions, agreed on a technical team of the ministries of trade of our two respective countries that will engage to find these various bottlenecks. We've also discussed in great detail barriers to also movement of goods and persons. And again, you heard President Ramaphosa mention that we have also established a high-level committee at our level to be able to discuss, with a time period of 6 months, what are the impediments to the free movement of persons and goods as well between our two countries. All of these are aimed towards seeing an increase in the volume of trade and investment between our two countries. And what I am particularly happy about is the level of commitment at the highest level possible that we have seen today in terms of reversing that situation and to have a much more balanced situation prevail in terms of trade between our two countries. A much more balanced and increase in terms of volume, in terms of volume of goods, but also in terms of the amount of actual transactions that are actually done between our two countries. So I must say that I am quite happy with the commitment that I have seen from the government of South Africa led by President Ramaphosa.
I'd just like to add on the very positive side that we would like to see trade between South Africa and Kenya moving towards the direction of being balanced, because it's horribly imbalanced at the moment. So I'd like to see Kenya's trade with South Africa almost quadrupling, because it is at a very low level at the moment. And that should mean that we want to see more services from a Kenyan point of view being delivered in South Africa of whatever nature, where Kenya has a competitive advantage which can add to also the growth of our own economy, where Kenya has products where they are competitive coming into our markets and appearing on our shelves. We often see things like tea from Sri Lanka, Ceylon tea and stuff like that. I think South Africans would love to see more and more Kenyan tea from the foothills of the Kilimanjaro mountains. I think they should have a tea like that. Coffee and cut flowers we already get, although they are rerouted. Would like to see more and more of that, so that the intra-Africa trade becomes a reality, and becomes a reality quickly between our two countries, particularly following this state visit as well.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Karine du Plessis, Business Day.
Hi, good afternoon, Your Excellencies. President Ramaphosa, I just want to add Farmer's Choice on behalf of Kenyans living in South Africa
Oh,
to
well
your
done.
list of tea and
Oh, wow, farmer's choice.
Yes, because I always travel with us. No, I shouldn't say. I don't,
Okay.
I don't travel with him in my bag. Your Excellencies, I want to ask a question about Israel. President Ramaphosa mentioned this situation in the Middle East, the Israel-Palestine question. I just want to know, recently we saw Israel accredited to the African Union, with a lot of other embassies and diplomats. And I just want to know, I know that our countries hold different views on Israel and we have different relations with Israel, but now that they are accredited, is there any way that this could benefit the continent? I would like to ask perhaps to both presidents. Thank you.
Should I go first? We did touch on this matter of the so-called accreditation of Israel to the African Union. And as we did at a public level express our disquiet, we've also raised that matter. And we both agreed that the manner in which it was done could have been done better. And this matter is obviously going to be relegated for discussion at the African Heads of State meeting in February. And I think that is as far as one can go, particularly ourselves, on this matter, because we are going to have an opportunity to fully examine this matter and discuss it properly and get into the full contours of this matter and see what the efficacy of having such a dispensation for the state of Israel is within the African continent. So I'd like to say that this is a matter under discussion, and we will be able to, as the continent, reach a full conclusion in our meeting as heads of states in February.
I just want to agree with what President Ramaphosa has said, that indeed this is a matter under consideration. And to once again just to re-emphasize that point, that whenever we are dealing with critical matters, it is always important to make sure you carry everybody along. And unfortunately, this didn't quite happen. And as he has said, there will be a discussion, on the matter, because it should have actually allowed discussion, because what we want is for Africa to speak with one voice. We don't want to see a divided African voice on any major issue that faces our continent. We have too many problems of our own. In fact, that's what we were saying to ourselves. We have too many problems of our own to want to be divided about problems that are outside our continent. So it's a matter that shall be discussed, and I'm sure we will find a proper resolution. But the important thing is for Africa to continue maintaining the stance that we have always had, that we speak in one voice. We deliberate on issues and we take decisions as a body. And I think that is what is important in this. And February, I'm sure it will be a matter that will come up for discussion.
Thank you, President. Our final question is from Zwandile Mbeje of the SABC.
Good afternoon to the President. My colleagues have tended to cover just about everything international, so I might as well throw in something local with a bit of international.
Careful.
Yes. Mr. President, I know you are here as head of state, hosting the President of Kenya. But as South Africans, we still want to hear from our President. We have seen that the governing party has lost just about every economic hub due to the elections that happened on the 1st of November. Given that even here where we are today in Tshwane, chances are when we wake up tomorrow is the opposition that will be in charge. I don't know whether you did share with your counterpart. And And the coastal city of Durban tomorrow, chances are it's going the same way. Surely, that can't be, I guess, from the party point of view, be good news, I guess, from your side. President Kenyatta, I know that you are on your last term. Perhaps you may have offered tips on how to get a second term. Thank you.
Well, I knew you were going to be naughty and slip in a local question when we are on the international stage here. I thought that what happens in Vegas should stay in Vegas. I did say to President Kenyatta that his timing for visiting South Africa is really poor. He should have come on the 1st of November. As a good friend, I know he would have voted for us. So now we've lost, we didn't have his vote. No, what is unfolding is how democracy works. This is the footsteps, if you like, of democracy. And we've seen it play out throughout the country. And indeed, as president of the governing party, it is disappointing for the African National Congress, but that is how we should accept the clear message of our people on the African National Congress. We've taken heed, we have listened, and this for us is a big setback, but it is also a big lesson. And we are a party that learns very quickly, and we are going to go to the drawing board. We are going to reflect on all these setbacks. And all we want to see, speaking now as President of the Republic, I'd like to see stability in our local government sector, that whatever coalitions have been formed and are being formed will result in stable local government, that we do not have instability and collapse of local governments, motions of no confidence, to a point where service delivery will not be given to the people of our country. So I will call on those who have emerged victorious to say, ensure that there is stable government, and congratulate those who have succeeded. I was particularly pleased to see that a number of female metro mayors have come to the fore on the platform, and that is good as far as our agenda to promote the empowerment of women, and it behoves well for the state of the Republic of South Africa, and we wish those councillors who have been elected the very best, and may they all continue to work well for the people of various communities across the country. That's all one can say at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And
no, I'll just say that the only thing it's not for me to comment on domestic politics, but really just to say that as South Africans, you should be very proud and happy with yourselves that you have a mature democracy. What you see here is not very common in many other parts of the world. So mine is to congratulate South Africans and to say, let us continue entrenching democracy as a way of governance, and to say we are proud of you, and results are one way this way, next time there'll be another way, but what is important is that the tenets of democracy are at the root of South African society, and that is something South Africans should be proud of. As to lessons, well, I don't have to repeat. Second term, he's told us already they're learning lessons. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you to our delegations. Thank you to the Fourth Estate for participating in the session. And that concludes the press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, President Uhuru Kenyatta visiting on a state visit to South Africa and holding a media briefing there with our President Cyril Ramaphosa, both saying that they've had productive discussions covering a myriad of issues, including areas that are hotspots on the African continent like Mozambique, Sudan and Ethiopia. They've talked about the impact of COVID-19 on the continent and more specifically around relations between the two nations and how they can improve things like trade. President Ramaphosa saying that we need to see more Kenyan tea on our supermarket shelves. President Kenyatta there saying that South Africans should actually be proud of the democracy that we have here, that we have such a robust democracy given all the changes that we've seen on the landscape. We're going to go for a quick break and we'll have